So, Tucker, start with the other night against Arizona. Your dad said when you see the first one go down, it sometimes just comes easier. Are you like that? When you saw that first one, did you know the rest of the night was going to be special?
Yeah, well, I don't know if you remember the first possession of the game, but my first shot wasn't even close. So, but yeah, once you get a couple to go down, you play with a little more confidence, have it going a little more confident what you're doing, and can be a little bit more aggressive. And luckily, had it going a little bit and was able to get a couple of them to go down.
So, as a shooter, you said your first one didn't go, but do you know even pregame? The ball feels good coming off my hand. Do you know you're in for a night when you're a shooter like that, or does it just happen organically?
Pretty organically. I think there's certainly times throughout the season that, maybe it's kind of like a 2-3 week stretch where, it feels really good, really natural. And then, maybe there's other stretches where, it just feels a little uncomfortable. But, that's, just kind of basketball in general. I feel like everybody kind of goes, through some slumps and some really good points. But I'd say before the game, it's hard to tell how the game's going to play out. And, that one, it just happened to play out that way.
Tucker, I was kind of asking Dad about these challenges. And, for the last few years, you guys have been in the smaller conference, but still obviously fans of the game. I'm sure you're in the same position. Did you ever pay attention to Big 12 versus SEC or ACC versus Big 10 or whatever the case may be? I mean, do those things grab a guy who obviously plays the game but may not be involved in those?
Yeah, I mean, I think I watched a lot of I just love watching basketball in general, no matter what level it is. So. Whether it's, low major, high major, whatever was on, and especially, growing up with a bunch of guys that are playing at the college level, I would try and watch all their games, and, a lot of them are at the Power 5 schools, so, watching them as much as possible. And then, obviously it's great basketball, and some of these challenges, it's some of the best against the best, so it is fun to watch and would watch it when I could.
Is there any kind of feeling about being involved in one now, or is it just another game?
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool. I think it's a big game for us, coming back home. I don't know that the challenge is something that you grow up wanting to be a part of. I feel like there's a lot of big moments and big games that you look forward to, but this is for our team. This is a big one. A Big East, an old rival. Coming into the Coliseum, and we need to make sure we hold our own at home and can continue to get this momentum going.
Tucker, how'd the shoulder look 3 games in 3 days and all that shooting you did?
For the most part, it's all right. I don't know how much my dad talked about it, but I'll let him kind of handle any. Yeah, I don't know. I'll let him handle any medical responses.
Because you hadn't done something like that. I'm sure you practiced several days in a row, but everybody has physical fatigue in those 3 games. But yours is, maybe you're just curious, how's it going to do? And it looked pretty good in the 3rd game.
Yeah, I mean, I think 3 games in 3 days is hard for anybody. Especially a group that, had to play a lot of guys, a lot of minutes. So I think for us, these last couple days when we got back, we're all about kind of regrouping, getting healthy, and preparing for Georgetown coming up in tomorrow.
As you guys have been back and been on campus or been around town, have you noticed people getting excited? I mean, have you noticed any sort of difference like that?
Yeah, it's certainly, once the season starts and, everybody seems super excited just for, the beginning of the season. And then, after a couple big wins, I think people are even more excited to, finally see what this team's capable of and what we're about. But, it's a tremendous fan base, and it's fun to be a part of and be able to play for them. And, I expect it to be in full effect tomorrow night in the Coliseum because we'll definitely need them for a big game.
From what you guys did in the Bahamas, did you notice that all of a sudden the team has a different, step about them, holding their head higher, things like that?
Yeah, I think, as I've kind of realized throughout my career, it's, you can be as close of a group as possible, and, but you really don't build chemistry until you go through things good and bad together. You know, honestly, I mean, obviously I would have loved for the Pitt game to go a lot differently, but in some cases it was the best thing for us because you kind of got to go through some adversity, and I thought our group overcame that pretty well, and, you know, kind of we looked at ourselves in the mirror and like what we need to change and fix, and you know, preparing for the Bahamas, you know, I think we did that really well, and then to be able to see the results of, you know, what we were able to change, and for it to come out like that, you know, it gives us a little bit more confidence in what we're doing and heading in the right direction, and, you know, certainly have a lot of room for improvement, but, you know, we'll take this momentum for sure.
I mean, outside, that surprised some people what you did. As players, did you ever surprise yourself what you were able to do down there?
I think as a group, I feel like we're confident that we can compete with anybody. But I mean, we know we're probably not the most talented team out there in the country, so we have to, you know, close that gap, or, you know, overcome that gap in other ways of, you know, playing better together, playing harder, more disciplined, and I don't think we surprised ourselves with being able to compete with those teams. It's going to have to look a little different than, you know, maybe just rolling the ball out there and just being more talented than guys.
You've obviously had a lot of good moments throughout the season. Javon certainly, and Monty's had it. Is Toby like maybe the most underappreciated guy on the roster so far, do you think?
Yeah, I think Toby's, I mean, obviously this weekend Toby played fantastic and was a big part in, you know, both wins for us. And I think everybody brings their own value, and I think Toby's a guy that, you know, his value might not show up in the stat sheets like other guys, but you know, he plays tremendously hard, and, you know, has been a big part in what we do offensively and defensively, even if people may not realize it.
Probably had a bad shooting night or two before. For a guy like Powell, who's been hot before, but just didn't make him as often as he wanted there. Say anything to him, talk him up, help him get through it?
Yeah, I think being a freshman can be hard. You know, I actually haven't talked to him about it yet, but I was in a pretty similar situation my freshman year of, you know, had a pretty decent start, and then there's a 2 to 3 game stretch where it's just like, wow, I don't even feel like I should be out there, you know, playing so bad. But the thing about JP is he's so confident in what he does, and I don't think that's going to change with, you know, maybe the week he had, because we're going to need him for our team to be successful, and he knows that, and he's going to continue to work, and I have faith in him tomorrow that, you know, he's going to go out there, play with the same confidence, and he's going to make, you know, the ones that he takes, and he's going to be a big part of it. And I think it's just part of growing, and it's part of basketball. I mean, everybody's going to have rough nights, and, you know, he still brings a lot of value outside of just making and missing shots. So, you know, we're going to need him going forward, and I expect him to continue to work, and he'll be right there.
One of the worst things you can do to a shooter is talk to him and make him think it's going wrong or it's not working, even though it just worked before.
Yeah, sometimes. I think everybody's a little different. I also think there's, you know, certain guys that, you know, like some people I'd feel comfortable with, you know, maybe it's like an adjustment or two. But then sometimes when you got so many people telling you, then you just start thinking about it. So I try not to, you know, worry about it too much or talk to people too much, because I know what it's like to be in that situation. And, you know, at the end of the day, I feel like once he sees one go down, it's just going to be, you know, 5 or 6 following it right after that.
You mentioned that confidence he has. Does it speak to that it didn't seem to let him bother him in any other areas of the game?
Yeah, I thought he did a terrific job of just continuing to play. It can be hard, you know, frustrating, especially when, you know, that's kind of your strong value to the team is, you know, being able to shoot. And but when that wasn't falling, I thought he continued to play hard. He played great defense. You know, he was able to put it on the deck, and he even made some plays for some other guys to get them open as well. So I think that's very encouraging. And kind of like I said earlier, sometimes you just got to go through some adversity to learn and grow. And I think he'll take this and, you know, move on and learn from it and kind of almost make him a better player from it. But like I said, he's going to play with extreme confidence. We all have confidence in him, and I know he's going to be big for us going forward.
You obviously learned a lot from your dad. Did you learn anything from your uncle? I mean, he was a pro athlete. You know, anything from him, or did he just beat on you as a kid, or?
He was. I know if you go to shake his hand, you'll feel it. But I was pretty young when he was playing, but I'd say, for most of the family, it's just everybody was extremely hard workers, and they would kind of just instill that into all of us of, just kind of putting your head down and working, and the rest will take care of itself.
Talking earlier, kind of about the team, maybe not just can't roll the ball out there. I mean, obviously, your dad came in and had, the most say on what the roster was going to look like. Does he look for different guys than maybe what other coaches look for when it comes to constructing the roster?
Yeah, certainly. I think every coach is going to be unique and picky to what they want their roster to look like. I think for him, he wants guys that are high IQ, skilled, and will play really hard and can have a little bit of versatility both offensively and defensively. But I think he wants guys to fit the culture of what he wants it to look like, and having guys that are just kind of good people, and you're willing to win or lose with them, because the culture is going to stay the same, and everybody's going to keep fighting to be where we want to be.
I think there are a lot of other coaches who look for that similar stuff, or are they looking for the stats or the recruiting rankings and so on and so forth?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, every coach is very unique and different. I think there's certainly coaches that are similar. I think no coach is the exact same in what they're looking for, but I think there's similarities obviously throughout the country, and but yeah, I think everybody just kind of values different things, and I think that's just what he values the most is guys that are good people, and will work really hard as a group, as a team, to be the best spot possible.
I'm assuming.
Yeah.
When you talk about getting guys to fit the culture, I mean, as we've talked to you guys, like you, Javon, Amani, Toby, it seems like personality-wise, you guys are similar, right? I mean, does your dad look for that, and do you see that as players? I mean, do you feel like all you guys are identity-wise, personality-wise similar?
Yeah, I think the similarities between us is honestly we all just work really hard and want to win. I think off the court, people might not realize how different we all are, but I think that's what makes the team so special. Is you have all these guys from different backgrounds, different areas of the country, parts of the world. I mean, we got 3 or 4 overseas guys, so it's kind of cool to all come together, and then it's the guys you spend all your time with, and you get to be really close. So I think it's what makes college basketball so special.
Give us an example of one of those big differences.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we got guys from all over the country. So, foods, music, some of the guys never been golfing, so I'm going to try and take them out golfing once it gets warm. But, it's just different things like that may not have grown up doing. But, when you get around a bunch of guys that are, from different places and different backgrounds, it's cool to kind of, get to experience all the different things that they've experienced as well.
From Iowa, you miss, what's that sandwich, hamburger loose?
The Jethro's?
Yeah.
Actually, I'd say the thing I just missed, there was like a little grocery store market that just had meals that the Gateway Market that I would always go to. So kind of missed that, just the convenience of it. But there's good food here too, so I'm not struggling too bad.